Hey everyone, it's technology expert Burton Kelso here with another tech tip to help you get the most out of the technology in your life. Today we're talking about 5 simple tips that will help you get your email organized. That's right. Even though we are on social media quite a bit, email is still the preferred method to communicate back and forth with business associates and loved ones. Email can be a challenge, however, because people know that we communicate with email. So there's spam, you get emails at not appropriate times, and it can be a good time suck if you spend too much time with your email. That's why it's important to get organized with it. And this is like the lifelong struggle that has occurred no matter what you're using to get email. So it doesn't matter if you're Windows, Mac, smartphone, or tablet user. There are 5 things that you need to know about your email in order to keep it a little bit more organized. So with that said, let's start with tip number 1, which is to make sure that you synchronize your devices. Now, you access your email probably for the most part on your smartphone, which I've got obviously a smartphone with me. But some of you might also access them on a tablet as well. And it's important, regardless how you access your email, you get it synchronized. Now, there's 2 methods to make this happen. Now, the old school method of getting your email was called POP or POP. Don't ask me what that stands for. I'm not going to get into that. But what basically would happen is that if you downloaded email onto your smartphone, what would happen is that the email would only be on your smartphone. Sometimes you could synchronize your email through POP to show up on your smartphone, your computer. I like how I held up a smartphone. Let's make sure we do this right. Your computer and your tablet. So if that were the case with POP, then you could go and set it up and you could get email on all your devices. The problem with POP is that your email would not synchronize. So if you were to delete email, say on your laptop, I love how I've got to show that example up here, or on your tablet or your smartphone. I've got the tablet upside down. Let's get that right. Yeah, what would happen is if you deleted it on one of those devices, then your tablet would have email and then your smartphone wouldn't have the email. So what you want is to go and make sure in your settings for your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet to make sure that you've got IMAP set up or even Exchange set up. Now what IMAP or what Exchange email services does, email services. I'm going to get that out one of these days. But anyway, what IMAP and Exchange email services does for your smart device is it allows it to synchronize. Now, IMAP only concentrates on your email, whereas if you go with an Exchange account, Exchange will not only synchronize your email, but it'll also do your contacts and your calendar and even your task. So that would be the ultimate to go with. But just for email purposes, you want to go into your smart devices and your computer and make sure that your email is set up for IMAP, because IMAP allows the synchronization of not only your inbox folder, but all of your folders. So what happens when you've got your devices set up for IMAP, if you delete an email on your smartphone, hold it up again, it will also delete it on your tablet, and guess what? It's even going to do it on your computer too. And don't let that HP fool you. If you've got a Macintosh device, or even if you're a non-Apple device user, you definitely can have all those devices synchronized with IMAP. And the beautiful thing about IMAP, it doesn't matter which device you have. So you can have an iPad and say you work on a Windows computer and a piece of paper fell down. You could work on a Windows computer and it would automatically synchronize all your devices. So it works cross-platform. Doesn't matter what you use, you can definitely set up IMAP to make sure that all of your email is synchronized. So it helps you go through and clear out swaths of emails. So if you've got a ton of stuff on the inbox of your phone and you just want to clear out your email, just hit delete and it'll delete it on all of your devices. Same thing with items under sent items. You want to go through and you could delete all that out. And if you've got IMAP set up, it will definitely delete all of those emails. So that way you're not juggling between devices trying to figure out how your your email is going to get organized. So speaking of organization, the next thing you want to do, so tip number 2 is that you want to organize your inboxes. And with that, it's pretty much the same setup when it comes to your email. So I'm going to let you look at my Gmail account, which I hardly use. It kind of helps if I open that up. So let's go to Gmail, and there we go. So we got Gmail open, and there's all these emails in here with a bunch of junk in here. Now what I could do is, Gmail calls it labels. So what I could do is I could create a new label, and it would allow me to start moving this stuff into subfolders. So labels in Gmail is basically subfolders for another account. So if I wanted to put stuff in a label in a folder called stuff, I could click on this blog loving post, and then I can tell it that I want to move it. I could archive it, or also, let me unarchive that. Also, I can go to labels and then label as and create a label, or I can use an existing label like stuff. So right now it's currently labeled as a promotion, because one of the good things about Gmail, while we're talking about Gmail, is that it will gather your spam and your junk. And those folders are actually considered labeled folders. So one of the advantages of having a paid or an unpaid Gmail account is that it will check that incoming mail and it will sort it by labels, so that way you can get the bad stuff out of the way. So all your spam, all your promotional email automatically goes into a label, or what's considered in old Outlook or other email programs, a subfolder. But you could also create your own labels with Gmail and other programs like Outlook or Windows Mail or even Mac Mail. But on this, we can go and change the blog loving to stuff, and it would automatically put it into the stuff folder. So if I hit apply, actually it's going to put it in 2 folders, but as you can see, the stuff folder has actually highlighted and it's in the stuff folder. So labels is a good way of organizing your emails to make sure that you know exactly where emails are. Another method of this, let's switch to our desktop, is Windows Mail. So the same thing. You could click on New Mail, and I did not mean to click on New Mail. That's making a new mail message. If we go back to our home screen, let's get back here, come on. There we go. If we want to compose a message, we would click on New Mail. But if we go to folders and click on the folder plus sign, then we could name a folder to whatever we wanted to, call it more stuff, hit enter, and it's going to create a subfolder called more stuff. And once I have that, I can go into Gmail, and then I can just drag that down to more stuff, and it will put and organize that email in the proper folder. Now for you Mac users out here, it's the same thing in Mac Mail, and we're going to open up our virtual Mac. Well, I shouldn't say virtual Mac, but we'll just say virtual Mac for the heck of it. So if we open up our Apple Mail is going to work in the same way. If we go to mailboxes, then we could go in and create a subfolder under Mac Mail, and Google automatically creates subfolders. So if we could create a subfolder in our Apple Mail, then it will obviously allow us to put our stuff under subfolders. So subfolders, labels, they're available on all email platforms. So take advantage of it and make sure that you use those subfolders in order to keep your mail organized. And the good thing, if you're using IMAP Mail for organization of your email, is that regardless where you create your folder. So let's say I'm a Mac user and I sometimes use a Windows computer. If I have IMAP, then I can create my folders in my Apple Mail or Mac Mail, and then those folders will show up in my Windows Mail with my Gmail account. So If you are using IMAP or Exchange, it will definitely let you create subfolders. That way all those folders will show up on all your devices, and that way you will always have access to your stuff. Because I know most of you are using your email like a file cabinet, and that's okay as long as you've got the storage for it. So make sure that you organize that email. Make sure that you're using a synchronizing system like IMAP in order to make sure that you're keeping your email organized and easy to access. So tip number 3 is to unsubscribe from those annoying posts. And unsubscribe is kind of a difficult thing because years ago, tech guys like myself were saying, oh, don't unsubscribe from those lists because, my goodness, that's going to be from a hacker getting access to your stuff. But nowadays, it doesn't work that way so much. So I could go to this blog loving post, and then I could scroll down to the bottom of the email, and it will give me an option to subscribe. And that's kind of what needs to happen with most email out there, is you need to have an option to subscribe. So under most circumstances, if I make it down to the bottom, you can see the message here at the bottom. If you don't want to be part of blog loving, click here to unsubscribe. So you do, and then you enter your information. Same thing with, say, Groupon. I haven't used Groupon in years, but let's say I'm tired of getting email from Groupon. If I double click on the Groupon, it should pop up, and it does. You can just scroll down to the bottom of the email and unsubscribe from that email list. And once I do, it will take me off. If it doesn't, then Groupon's going to get in trouble. So I can click here, and it'll automatically unsubscribe that email. Pretty darn simple. So if there's any junk email that you're getting, make sure that you're unsubscribing from those lists, because email is supposed to be an opt-in system, but many times it's not opt-in. Companies get your emails and they automatically add you to their list. So make sure that you get in that habit of subscribing from those emails to create less chaos with that inbox. I know it drives most of you crazy, and it drives me crazy too. So tip number 4 is to use the 1-minute rule when it comes to email. Going back to our Mac, you want to, and I'm being Mac favorite today because it's up and it's open. So the 1-minute rule is to click on an email. So let's scroll through, and if I can't read it in a minute, you definitely want to archive it and do it later at a time where you can do stuff. So one of the things that, if you can enable it in whatever email program you're using, the preview function works really good, because I can look at Best Buy deals like right here. This just in, new hot deals on must-have tech. I don't need any tech right now, so I am going to maybe delete that because I'm not interested in shopping right now at Best Buy. Or I can just create a subfolder to read that email later. Same thing with Windows Mail. Let's get out of our Mac here and get back into Windows Mail. If you can have that option to look quickly, and let's get back to our Windows. There you go. Groupon, Illinois, Great Wolf Lodge, and more. Took a trip to Chicago a few years ago and still getting those Chicago, Illinois, or Illinois Groupons. I can read it quickly, see it, and then I can dispose of it. Now, I will say, if you're sending out email, and I know this kind of goes against what we're talking about, make sure that you are quick and concise as far as what you're conveying in an email message. Most people don't have the attention span more than that, so it's better to create a quick email that people can glance at, or even better, create subject lines that people can look at and say, man, I know what this is about, and it will get people to read your email quickly. So tip number 5, which is, gotta hold that up, those 5 fingers. I think I hit 20, but anyway, tip number 5 as far as email is concerned is to delete those old emails that are over a year old. I know, yes, that's what those subfolders for. So as you can see in my Gmail account, my goodness, we can go back months. And like I said, I don't use this. This is more of a sample. As you can see, I've got email going back to May of 2020. That's a long time. There's all sorts of stuff in there that I could get rid of. So it's time to go through and delete all that old email out. You don't want to keep it if it's over a year. It just junks up your inbox. And I know, going back to the Windows mail, 985 messages is quite a lot. But I know there's many of you out there that have more than that, probably twice or three times that amount of email. There's no need to keep that junk. So go through it and delete all of that old email out. I would recommend going back at least keeping a year worth of information in there, just in case you don't have time to jack around with it. But if it's beyond today, go back and make sure that you delete from this moment forward from a year from now, and get rid of that old email, because you don't want that stuff junking up your inbox. So hopefully that will give you some tips and tricks to kind of tame that email. I think probably the most prominent takeaway would be to make sure that your email is synchronized so that you can see them on all of your devices. One other thing I might add is that when you are looking at your email, you probably only want to try to check it once a day, or maybe even twice a day, and turn off those email alerts off, because what happens is like those social media alerts that pop up on your smart devices, you're always looking at email and it just becomes overwhelming. So check your email only a couple of times a day. You might, if you are in a position where you're worried if someone isn't going to know if you've received their email, turn on those automatic alerts. You can set it up easily in Gmail or most web-based email services like Hotmail and even AOL, if there's people out there using AOL. Turn those alerts on so that people know that you've got their email if you're worried that they don't think that you're going to see your email. So those are some tips to keep in mind when it comes to synchronizing email. So if you have any comments or questions about email, leave them in the comment section below. Love to hear from you to find out, or to answer your email questions, and to find out what other tech tips you might have. I always have to throw this graphic up here. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share the video. You can subscribe to me, Burton Kelso, the technology expert, or my company Integral, which is on the shirt. I can point to it, or on the screen. Our social media, YouTube channels are full of tech tips and tricks that are designed to help you get more from the technology that you use at home and work. So with that said, I love technology. I've read all the manuals, and I'm serious about making technology fun and easy to use for everyone. Thanks for watching this video, and take care of yourself and do many things to make you smile. And again, thanks for watching.